see what we got. And when you say, oh yeah, because that reminds me of what I got to do after the show. I gotta take my horse to the old town road. Gonna ride till I can't no more. Gonna take.
So, for the people watching and you can see this, we just got done talking about how Emac didn't like that song, and I agreed. So, I did not expect you to start the show with that, but I cannot lie, that did make me chuckle.
Yeah, it's can't nobody tell me nothing.
So you got the whole song down. So for not liking it, I mean,
well, it's kind of like my life. My life is a movie, bull riding boobies.
Oh my god! I'm just waiting for the delay just to see the comments. I mean, what a start to the show. It doesn't get much better than that. Where else are you finding someone singing "Old Town Road"? Is that what's Old Town Road to start off an MLB DFS show?
Oh, there we go. Here, it must be hitting now. We got some fun comments coming into chat. Well, hey, it's DFS MLB strategy show. Note there to one Josh Engelman. Tomorrow we got to get a new frame for this. But it's me and Jake. Tomorrow you're gonna get me and Josh. It's an EMAC weekend. I had me and Dan Strafford this morning. 50 years of combined fantasy baseball experience on that show. So that's 5-0, Jake. 5-0.
That's pretty impressive.
That's a lot. That is a lot. All right, let's see what we got here. We've got some fun games here. It's a 7:15 start, so we're going live in 1 hour with first pitch. We've got, let me see here. We are still waiting on the Mets and Astros lineups, as well as the Pod Squad. It looks like my guess for Houston is just with so many people hurt, we'll have to see who ends up going for them. Now, those are both 10 o'clock games, so that's still 4 hours or so before first pitch. So we may not get those lineups till a little bit later in the show, but we'll kind of go game by game here to organize some stuff. We'll be building some lineups here. And we've got some fun content. We got what did you write today? Did you do cheat sheets and spotlight pitcher?
I did, yeah. So Saturday is Josh's day off from content, and then so I picked up the spotlight pitchers, did the cheat sheets for each site. Yahoo, of course, we love Yahoo. Also DraftKings and FanDuel cheat sheets for so we've got something for everyone up there, which is pretty nice. Just a quick look. There's green for cash viable plays, and then the other plays are more geared towards DPP. But it's your roster. You do what you want. You do with it what you want.
All right, let's see. Here's the comments. Emac's on fire. I'm done with Emac. Just kidding. Jake finally got his hair done. He's ready. Is Emac drunk? No, I'm drinking my diet Pepsi. I don't like to mix soda with booze. It doesn't taste right to me. But I do like vodka tonic. That's probably my favorite if I'm going to be having hard alcohol or a margarita. But I kind of like the vodka tonics.
I'm more of a vodka soda guy. But yeah, I'm in on it. I used to mix soda, and then I basically stopped drinking it altogether a few months ago. So mostly just vodka soda. I am not a tonic guy, but I could probably make do with that.
Here we go. I'll let Emac have my girlfriend if he can serenade her like that. What a real man.
Honestly, I mean, it's a good thing our demographic is not my girlfriend. Otherwise, I might be getting a text after this.
That's okay, but you're a snack, according to at least some of the ladies in North Carolina.
Oh boy, yeah, that was a fun show for a variety of reasons.
You turned so red, it was funny. I think it totally caught you off guard.
I was definitely caught off guard. I mean, I wasn't expecting that. But it was, I suppose, a nice compliment, right? So
yeah,
it's all good.
Why not? In any event, I'll drop in the link in chat there for the spotlight hitters and stacks. In that second paragraph is going to be the link to Yahoo. If you come in on that link and use the promo code OSMO, they will match your first DFS deposit up to $30. You will get that in Yahoo Sports Reward points, YSRP, and those are just as good as cash, and you can use them to enter any contest immediately, and then as you convert that into cash, you can play more, or you can withdraw and do whatever you want. I got eighth in the the management fee free tournament last night.
Did you?
Yeah,
Rockies?
yeah, I had some Rockies. Kirk Solly was good, good to me. I don't remember who else I had on that team, but I got a couple more. I'm hand building those lineups now. It's a tricky build today, so we're going to talk about that. But let's get on in here. We'll go game by game. Let me see here. I probably should have had all the good stuff called up. No real weather issues that we're going to have to worry about, so that is going to be nice for a bit of a change. And then let's jump on in here, Jake. We have our first game tonight. Oh, and the Mets lineup just came in. Our first game tonight is going to be, actually, there's a triple header of 7-15 games. There is a 9-10 game that's in Coors Field, and then there are 4 games at 10 o'clock. So it's a nice, robust late slate there. And, of course, Coors Field is kind of that island game. So that will be a little bit fun. First one we've got here is Rick Porcello going against the Yankees. We have a 67-degree first pitch. There is no real wind to be concerned about. Porcello is coming in nicely priced on DraftKings at 69. Oh, boy, I did that without even thinking about it. Nice. But Porcello's at 6,900. Now, I haven't built my DK teams. I've just been focusing on Yahoo because I'm waiting for the other lineups to come in here and crunch. Porcello, of course, Cy Young Award winner Rick Porcello going against Domingo Germán. This lineup here for the Yankees, 5.1 implied run total for them, 4.5 implied run total for the Bo Sox. I'm not really excited for either side of this game. If I was going to land anywhere, I believe it would be with the Yankees because I'm really not a believer per se in Rick Porcello. I think he's a fine number 2 starter, and if he was on my team, I wouldn't get mad. But he doesn't strike out a lot of guys, but he doesn't give up a ton of power either. So we have the somewhat weakened Yankees team still without Stanton and Judge, but pretty much everybody else is healthy. So they're coming in hot with DJ LeMahieu, Luke Voit, Hicks, who's back and healthy, fine, or well, he's shaking the rust off. Gary Sanchez will be behind the dish. Gleyber Torres, cheap Kendrys Morales. So Kendrys Morales is in my life a lot there on Yahoo. I think he's, what is he, like $8 or $9, but there's nobody I really want at first base. It does cost me Justin Smoke, but I'm using that to help get to some of the Coors Field guys. What do you like from this one?
Yeah, surprisingly not getting a ton of anything here, which it's a bit surprising. I kind of understand why. As far as the pitchers go, Porcello, just not a guy I really love playing. He doesn't project out all that well. In fact, I don't even know if I got him in my dummy 150. I got 1 share out of 150. So there you go. That's more than enough for me. It's not a great matchup here for Porcello in my eyes. And also, and Alex's, it looks like Germán's a guy that I wouldn't mind taking a shot on if we didn't have DeGrom for 9,400. So I get the ownership play with Germán, but I like all my exposure basically in that range is either going up all the way to Kershaw or up just a little bit to DeGrom on DraftKings.
Yeah, and nothing really exciting on the other side here. Domingo Germán, pretty good pitcher, actually has some really decent strikeout stuff. However, not the matchup where we really want to target him going against the Red Sox, who have an outstanding lineup. Let me see, get back to that page here. So many tabs open. They're coming in with essentially their best lineup, or at least through the top 5. Rafael Devers is batting cleanup tonight. That is someone who's intriguing. He is at $5,000. That would be a direct pivot away from someone like Nolan Arenado or Alex Bregman, who gets a matchup against a lefty. So those would, I think, are probably going to be the 2 more popular third basemen. So Devers should be someone that we give some consideration to even if you're only building a couple of lineups just to get that direct pivot away from the masses. If you were going with the Bo Sox, is it a one-off here and there, or would you go for more of a stack, just sort of as a counter move against the Coors Field extravaganza?
Yeah, I mean, this slate, again, like yesterday I was talking with Chris, it's mostly going to revolve around Coors Field for me. But you're getting 2 decent totals, 2 teams with a lot of power. two righties on the mound, which is important for these lefties in Yankee Stadium. Obviously, that plays really well to lefty power. So I think I actually probably prefer the Red Sox a little bit more when looking at their ownership and their chances of being the top stack. But I think you can make a case for either of these teams. I just don't think I'm just really heavy on Coors right now, and I don't see that changing much. So everyone else, basically, I'm probably going to be maybe a little under the field on. So I don't know where you stand on Coors, but I'm sure when we get to that game.
Yeah, we'll definitely dive into that one. I think this kind of wraps up this game here. The next one is the Angels at Seattle. We've got a couple of southpaws going here. We've got Andrew Heaney, who missed the first part of the season. He did pitch. His first start was in his last outing. I want to say he went like 83 pitches, but he was out for the beginning of the season with elbow discomfort. So something that you never really want to hear with a pitcher, but it didn't end up in surgery or anything else. He was, it was nice to see him go 85 pitches. I think that's what the number was. But he is someone that I'm okay with going against the Mariners. As at 8,500, he's okay for me on DraftKings. I'm getting a ton of him on Yahoo as I work in the core four from the Rockies, and it's sort of the best pitcher I can get to because Verlander is going to be a stretch. And just if you look across the sites, Verlander is head and shoulders above everybody else on that price tag, and it's a little tricky getting to him. So I'm sort of settling with Heaney, I guess. The one thing we want to remember is this game is 4:00 in Seattle, so it's actually relatively warm there. The last few days I was talking with with some of my family and friends out there, and they said, "Oh my God, these are the days we wish we had air conditioning," because most houses just don't have air conditioning because you don't really need it most of the year out there. But they said it's when it's 90, it's painful out there, but it's going to be close to 80 today, so that also helps the hitting environment. You've got Tommy Milone, this will be his, I don't know, why am I going off memory? I don't know, because I wrote a lot of this stuff, and that's just what I'm doing. But Milone this will be his third start. I believe the first two came against Texas, and maybe I should try to spell his name correctly when I look him up. 1L. Not two. First two starts came against Texas, 89 and 80 pitches. The only thing I want to say about Tommy Milone is he's an adequate pitcher. However, the Angels just don't strike out. Literally, they don't strike out. This is not a good matchup for him. And the one thing you want to remember with him is he spent, 8 starts down there in AAA Tacoma, which is wild considering he's like 31 or 32. He's a major league veteran, and Seattle has one of the worst pitching staffs in the league, and he couldn't even make it on a rotation for a team that was getting their ass kicked. Now he's slotting in for the Felix Hernandez spots, but 6,300, Jake, makes for some fun times here. If this game was a 7:00 local start, I'd feel a little bit better about Milone, but 6,300, I mean, you roll with him and you roll with Porcello, and you can get any hitter that you want on DK, and you're not going the obvious route where a lot of people are going to be going to Jose Urena and Brett Anderson, who we'll get to there on the 10:00 games. But if I'm going if I'm targeting against Heaney, I would like it to be Haniger, Edwin Encarnacion, and Domingo Santana. Those are the 3 guys I want. I don't hate Beckham and Murphy there, and those would all be righties. It kind of what's his name? Edwin Encarnacion was scratched last night. Some sort of issue with his mouth or some dental work issue. I don't remember what it was, or I didn't see what it was. But he's in there now. But that always makes you a little nervous if whatever was bugging him yesterday flares up again today. Is he going to come out? What's going to happen? But that's my tepid endorsement of the Mariners. Now, because I have so much Heaney, I will be getting for sure some 4-man or even 5-man over there on Yahoo stacks and on DK, just as a bit of a hedge, because Heaney could have a bad start. There's nothing that says he's going to be lights out tonight. What do you want to do from this game? Let's focus first on the pitching.
Yeah, I mean, so you kind of summed it up pretty well. Like I like Heaney. I actually was really shocked to see. For some reason, I thought the Mariners weren't a team I like to play lefties against, especially. But look at their K rate so far this season. They are third as far as active roster. I don't know about this specific lineup, but I'm assuming it's not too far off from there. It seems like these guys are pretty regular players that they have in the lineup. 27.5% K rate for this active roster. Now they have a bunch of power and stuff. And like you mentioned, it's a day game out in Seattle. So it's not like we're getting super favorable pitching conditions here for Haney, but he's a guy that I like. So he's a guy that I'm playing. I think I agree with you on the hitting. The guys, as far as the guys you want to target against him, it's 2, 3, 4. And that's really about it. Malone, you can always kind of make a case for a pitcher that's stretched out in 6,300 on a slate like this, where you have expensive Coors bats that are in really, really awesome spots. But I'm just going elsewhere with my exposure in that range that we'll talk about later, I'm sure. So you mentioned 2 out of the 3 guys that I'm targeting. The third one, he's not a very good player, but I am playing a different pitcher in the sub 7K range as well.
Right. That'll about wrap it up for this one. And not the fair chat. We kind of have a little rhythm here. We both talk a little bit longer because we're both furiously making lineups here and waiting for stuff to come in. So yes, don't worry. I'm not going to talk the whole time. Jake's going to have plenty of time to get his takes in. Not to fear. I know he's
your show, Emac. You're the host. You carry the show. You don't listen to what chat's saying about you talking too much.
Oh, I'm not worried about it. I'm good. I'm fine. I can talk forever. There was somebody commented that if Emac and Eddie did a show together, it would last for hours. Yeah, it probably would. We have to be careful when we're on shows together because we can get sidetracked rather rapidly. But that's going to wrap up this game here. Heading into our final 7 o'clock game. This one's sort of intriguing here as well. You've got Jose Quintana going against the Cardinals. Now, I'm not really interested in Quintana, even at that $6,700 price point, because you are looking at just a massive wave of righties. Matt Carpenter is in the leadoff spot, so that's going to be fun. I don't mind him there. Of course, Paul DeYoung, Goldie, Ozuna, all good against lefties. And then Matt Wieters is resurfaced, at least until he gets hurt again. He's in there, which is, he's a catcher and he's batting 5th. A lot of people are going to be going to Jansen for Toronto, and we'll talk about him when we get to that Coors Field game. But he's way cheaper and batting 7th, so he's kind of your lineups on the 2 sites that require you to play a catcher. He's sort of installed in there, so Wieters would be an intriguing pivot. But for me, it's really only the first 4, maybe Wieters on this side. What do you like with the Redbirds bats and or any concerns with Quintana?
I mean, I don't think Quintana is all that great of a pitcher. I think this is a pretty good spot, though, for the Cardinals on the other side. So looking at their ownership right now, they are, let's see, I'm losing them on my sheet. Okay, so they're like middle of the pack as far as ownership share, as well as their chance to be the top stack. Actually, they're kind of in the upper tier in both of those. So I like St. Louis as 2- and 3-man stacks. I don't know that I'm getting to a bunch of 5-mans or 4-mans for that matter. But like I can make a case for basically all of these top 4 bats for the Cardinals. I actually like them quite a bit individually against Quintana. So I don't mind the stack, but I'm just getting to them less as 5-mans. So like my overall exposures, I don't know if they're going to match the field or come in just a little bit under on some of these guys, but I really like Carpenter. I know it's lefty, but 4,300 for him. He's just better than a $4,300 player. And there's just so many, like projection goes way up when you go from like hitting 3rd to hitting 1st. It's just a pretty big deal if people don't pay attention to.
Yeah, you get that, even though they're at home, a decent chance of getting 5 at-bats when you're leading off with a team like that, or in this situation here, because they should turn over the lineup, I would think, a couple times. Now, on the other side here, we have Jack Flaherty. You've got me confused. Everybody that's Jack, I now think of as Jake, because I make that concentrated effort and try not to call you Adam on these shows.
Or Josh.
Yeah. Or Josh. I don't do as many shows with Josh anymore, so that's not quite as tricky. as it once was. But what would you want to do here with Flaherty? He is 7,200. We don't have Javi Baez in the lineup here for the Cubbies. You're looking at Schwarbs leading off. You've got Chris Bryant, arguably a top 25 hitter, according to some people. Anthony Rizzo, Wilson Contreras, Hayward. Hey, revenge. But I'm still good with Flaherty. Now, I'm going to him on a couple lineups on Yahoo as a pivot away, so I don't have Heaney on literally every lineup. At 7,200, he's going to be in my plans on DraftKings just because he, at that price, he helps facilitate getting in some of the other batters. It also means I'm really not getting, we'll talk about it more, I'm really not getting a ton of DeGrom and Greinke. So I'm sort of living with these, mixing and matching these mid-tier priced guys. Flaherty, I feel relatively comfortable with. He has decent strikeouts, and the Cubs, while they're good, you get down to David Bodie and Albert Almora, etc., and you've got some gimme strikeouts there, I think. So that would, or weaker hitters, and if he can get those guys a couple times, he'll have some nice fantasy totals. But he's still got to dance with Rizzo and Bryant and Schwarber and Contreras. Which side are you landing, or is this a play both sides game?
It's mostly about Flaherty for me here. So, like I said with Carpenter, he's not a $4,300 hitter. He's always priced down. Flaherty, I don't remember off the top of my head where he's been priced lately, but this really jumped out to me. Mm-hmm. I guess he was $8K a couple weeks ago. So this isn't that far out of the ordinary. He's been stretched out to almost 110 pitches this season when things are going well for him. 4.1 implied total against him. That is not too bad at all considering the weather. And he just shouldn't be priced at 7,200. No one should really be priced at 7,200. That's not in Coors when you have a K rate of over 30% to same-handed hitters. So he's just way undervalued here. For Flaherty is basically all it is. And then you've got a bunch of righties stacked at the bottom of this order for the Cubs. So not all that worried about Hayward in the 5 spot either. So it's really Rizzo and Schwarber that you're worried about. Maybe Bryant just because he's a really good hitter. And it's going to be a lot of Flaherty for me. I got quite a bit overweight on him in my my dummy crunch here.
So this is a good call out there on the price. I mean, dynamic pricing on DK, but he's about $2,000 less than what he is on average tonight at 7,200. If we just look at his last 9 price points or so, 9,000, 9,200, 9,800, 10,300 against Cincy, 95 against Philly, 9 against Atlanta, 8 against Texas, and then 8 against Philly in his last start. He does have a 3.8 ERA, a 1.2 WHIP, and he has just over a strikeout per inning. So decent pitcher here. Not exactly our favorite matchup, but the price,
right,
very enticing at this point.
Agreed. Yep, that's a perfect way to sum it up.
All right, on to the next one. Here's where we get to have desserts. The buffet is open. We've got Marcus Stroman and his 60% ground ball rate going into Coors Field. Now, he works on, poop. His, slider that he relies on a lot. It doesn't always play well at altitude. We like that he is a ground ball pitcher, but I just don't see any reason to take Stroman. We have a 6.1 implied run total here for the Rockies. I'm definitely looking at their top 4 hitters. That's I'm sort of drawing the line at Daniel Murphy, who just doesn't look fully healthy yet after a lost season and a half of various maladies, both when he was finishing up his time with the Nationals and then start out this season with the Rockies. I'll get to him a little bit, but there are other first basemen I would prefer over him. I'm not really fired up to take Ian Desmond. I'm sure I'll get some of him, and I don't like Brendan Rodgers. And I think going to Tony Walters is a waste of time for this one. So congrats on those guys hitting back-to-back home runs today. Because, when we say poor things about people, they like to stick it to us. What do you want to do here with Stroman and the Rockies?
Yeah, so Stroman's not a guy I'm going to get to. The Rockies are, their top 6 especially, those are some of my highest exposed hitters across the board. They're just, I think they're going undervalued once again. If you look at the top stack tool, which I have looked at religiously in recent weeks as it's become more and more a part of my process, But they're just getting undervalued for a team with the highest implied total on the slate by a pretty healthy margin. And I know Stroman is a good real life pitcher, but like you mentioned, the slider does not play well in Coors historically. It's just physics. And you're getting 10, 11% on Arenado, which I think is ridiculous. Story is getting owned, but I love Dahl. I love Tapia if he's going to lead off at 4,500, whatever you think of him. But yeah, this is where I'm planting my flag today. I'm not all in on Coors, but they're by far my highest owned stack.
All right, I just went to look at my Twitter. I had a bunch of notifications. Thank you to whoever's running social media tonight. They put a poll out asking about my rendition of Old Town Road, and please rate it. 5 stars, we need an encore. 4 stars, 3 stars, and then never again. So just a little fun here on a Saturday night. On the other side here, on all sites actually, the Toronto Blue Jays are not priced up now, with the exception of Justin Smoke. I think he's around 20 on Yahoo, and he's 52 on DK. I like John Gray. Adam had a nice write-up in the deep dive article covering him, so let's just give you a little sneak peek here of some of the highlights that he had to say. He says he has a great matchup against the Blue Jays, but that matchup, of course, is in Coors Field. Fortunately, Gray has the arsenal to succeed as much as anyone can in Coors, utilizing a hard fastball and slider as his 2 primary pitches. Gray has struck out 25% of the hitters he's faced this season. He does have a 9.2% walk rate, but he is just 51st overall in called plus swinging strike percentage, and that's something that Adam and Lofty have really started using more this year, because it's a little better than using just swinging strike rate, because if you're freezing the batter or changing things up, there's certain pitchers that don't have necessarily a great swinging strike rate, but they're painting the corners or they're coming in with some unexpected pitches, and they're it's a called strike. So that's something you kind of want to put together, because they result in strikeouts, obviously, because it's a called strike, as the stat is so aptly named. I'm rolling with a heavy amount of John Gray today. I'm countering it with a few Toronto stacks. I don't really want any Toronto one-offs, but, well, other than the gimme Danny Jansen, who's super duper cheap, but I am going more or less all or nothing. Now, the guys I like are going to be Vlad Jr., Smoke, Gurriel, and Grichuk. Now, Grichuk, this is a tougher matchup for him, but he does have good righty-righty power. And then I'm also interested in Biggio, who is 15 on Yahoo, and he's 39 on DK. That's a nice price point here. He does have the lefty-righty platoon advantage in his favor, and he plays second base. So it's a good way to get someone in your second base spot there. What do you want to do with the Blue Jays here?
I'm playing quite a bit of Blue Jays, so I wrote up Gray, and I still think he is a good play. But the Blue Jays just have such a high chance of being the top stack as well. They're coming in about the correct value just because it got Vlad Guerrero at 4,100, Grichuk at 39. Those are 2 of the better values in the entire slate, and then Biggio as well. I like. So I think I misspoke about Stroman with the slider. I meant curveball. Curveball doesn't play well in Coors, and he's throwing that 33% of the time almost this season. So the slider can be effective in Coors, as Gray has showed us time and time again. So I still have a bunch of Gray, but I'm like you. I'm countering that with a bunch of Blue Jay stacks. I'm able to get good contrarian, unique lineups with Blue Jay stacks. Same thing with Rockies, and when that's the case, there's no reason for me to avoid a team with the 5 total.
Yeah, most definitely. Anything else you want to mention on this game?
I would just try to, I'm playing some of this guy, but I would try to avoid getting the majority of your Coors stacks be with Tony Wolters. I know he's tougher to fit in, he's not free, but maybe taking a Blue Jay stack on the other side as well without Jansen, because he's just going to be a guy that pops in optimizers. So just be aware of what you're doing if you're playing him. your stack's not going to be that unique if you're playing Jansen in your Blue Jays stack.
All right, moving along here. Now we got the 10 o'clock games. This is where the heavy trio of pitchers is living, or at least, well, the quartet, actually. We've got Justin Verlander going against the Athletics. Chris Davis back off of the injured list. He is going to be batting cleanup. That is a boost, of course, to Verlander because he does have some serious K upside. Davis is excellent in righty-righty matchups. He has a ton of power. I haven't looked this year, but like over the last 2 to 3 years, proportionally, even though it's more at bats, proportionally he hits almost as many home runs from the right side or off of righties as he does off of lefties. So I do like to call that out. But going against Verlander here, I don't really want to take any of these guys. Matt Olson has actually been okay. I was expecting to see perhaps a bit of sapped power after he broke his hamate bone there in the series opener or the MLB series opener there in Japan against the Mariners, but he's getting some extra base hits, so that's good to see. But this is just, to me, feels like too tough of a matchup. I will be looking to Oakland as probably 3-man stacks, particularly on the 4-game late slate. If I get some of them on the main slate, I'm not going to worry that much about it, but it's really not a priority, and I'm not getting any on Yahoo.
Yeah, I don't mind targeting certain bats against Verlander. You're looking for guys with power that can hit home runs, especially on a site like DraftKings where you're getting some good discounts on these Oakland hitters. So I don't love the full stack against him. I am going to get to some Chris Davis. I am going to get to some Matt Olson and probably maybe some Piscotty as well, it's looking like.
Okay.
Verlander he's kind of not – I'm not going to get to him because of his price tonight. Like, I'm taking the value in the upper tier for pitching, and that lies in DeGrom and Kershaw for me. So not getting to a bunch of Verlander. Did you say you were getting to him?
I haven't done my DK crunches yet. That'll be the next thing I do. But I've put him in on 3 of my 10 lineups in the management free contest here on Yahoo. And I actually just built a nice one here with Flaherty and Verlander going with the top 5 from St. Louis, catching in the outfield Chris Taylor and Kike Hernandez, who are both good against lefties. We'll talk about that one when we get there because there's going to be an opener in that game tonight. And then I decided to roll with Wieters in this one. So not too shabby of a lineup here, and definitely going to be contrarian from the standpoint of nobody in the Coors Field game on this lineup I just did.
Well, there you go. It's already going to be different.
All right, back on this side, we don't have the Houston Astros lineup yet. I believe they are the last one we are waiting for. Of course, they are without a host of their players. You've got George Springer, Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa, and Aledmys Diaz are all out. Now, Aledmys Diaz, you're like, wow, why? Well, he's kind of their utility guy that is constantly in the lineup because he can play multiple positions. So we're probably going to see someone like Marisnik, Tony Kemp at the bottom of the order there. Just, it's kind of a mess. Josh Reddick, not horrible in lefty-lefty matchups, and hey, he's familiar with the batter's eye there in Oakland Alameda Coliseum. Oakland Alameda County Coliseum? I don't know. It's not O.co anymore. Did you know that sponsorship? No, it ran out like 2 years ago. We still all call it O.co, but I
still do too. I call AT&T. I know it's not called that anymore.
They don't have a sponsor, so shout out for the Athletics. Well, we've got Brett Anderson here, 5,400. He is super cheap on Yahoo as well. I didn't have a chance to really look into him and see, so let's do that now. What is he going to, how many pitches are we going to see from him? So he went 110 against Seattle. He went 75 against Cleveland, 100 against Seattle, 98 against Cincinnati. So from a pitch per dollar, fellas, we got a nice one here for a cheap price. Now, what's he going to do with those? I don't know. This is still a pretty good team against lefties, but they're missing 3 of their best lefty mashers.
Yeah, just such a watered-down lineup for Houston. So Anderson's also dirt cheap. And, again, a guy that is stretched out, fully stretched. I mean, 110 pitches is wild for a lot of pitchers not in the top tier. But he's shown the ability to go deep and just kind of be useful. And that's what you're looking at for this price. So, of course, because I'm paying up for 1 million bats and Coors, I'm going to get to a lot of Brett Anderson as well. So, it's the most comfortable thing. But, like, if you read off the guys that Houston's missing, I mean, they're missing 3 out of their best 4 hitters. So, it's basically just Bregman in there that you're super worried about.
Yeah. Yeah, and even if I was taking Anderson, I would not mind taking Bregman just because he's that good. And again, it's the pivot away from Nolan Arenado in the Coors game, as well as Vlad Guerrero Jr. Now, looking at Yahoo, you can build some nice lineups if you go with Brett Anderson and Verlander. You're effectively spending about $44 per pitcher, which isn't bad, and there's a decent chance combined they're going to throw 100 pitches today. So, those are the kind of things you want to think about when you're scratching your head and you're saying, hey, do I really want to go with this guy? Step back, think about some big picture stuff, and go from there on that one. But this will be an interesting evening slate. Next game we have here, and again, reminder, it's 7:15 lock tonight. So we got 25 minutes. Jake and I will start doing some crunches here.
Should we do home run picks quick before we?
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to go first?
I have to find my home run pick.
All right.
Let's see. Who's the fattest first baseman on the slate?
Yeah, that's right on brand for you. I love it.
It would be. I am going. Why not? Let's go with that. Let's go with Paul Goldschmidt tonight against
Carlos. That was actually the guy I was looking at. I like that.
There we are. Well, my alternate was going to be Luke Voigt. So.
Okay. That's also a really nice one, I think. I will take this guy who people were saying was bad last night in our premium Slack. So I thought that was a pretty bad take. I don't know if people were trolling or what, but lefty, I will take Shohei Ohtani at 3,700 on DK.
Nice.
He's just a really, really awesome hitter, and people think he's bad for whatever reason because he's had a rough stretch, but he homered last night. I think he's due for some big things in the next few weeks.
All right, and just to support that, I had exactly $16 left, and I was looking for an outfielder here on Yahoo, and Shohei Ohtani, $16. So they're saving my last lineup, and I'll be rooting along with you there for that one anyway.
Did he get last night? Alonso Don?
Did he get one?
I don't know.
I don't think he did.
All right, I'll put you in for Goldschmidt here. All right, there we go.
The next game, we've got 2 outstanding pitchers, Jake DeGrom, Zach Greinke. We're paying essentially top dollar. They are both just above 9,000 on DraftKings. They are almost 10,000 each on FanDuel, and then I did not get either one in any of my 10 hand-built lineups on Yahoo. I would rather just scrape together the extra cash and try to get to Verlander or go ahead and load up on bats. I think these guys are both fine. I would prefer Greinke slightly just because he is going against he's going against the Mets, and the roof is open tonight. Sorry, I'm going to have a coughing fit if you want to talk.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, Greinke, he's a fine play. I just think DeGrom is one of the better pitchers in all the majors, if not the best pitcher. So I wrote him up, and I liked him before I even saw his price. But you throw in that price for a guy you think is one of the better pitchers, and the matchup as far as strikeouts go is about average, basically across the board for the Diamondbacks. But low total against him, even in the 94-degree heat in Arizona here. So DeGrom's kind of my guy at this range. Not getting to quite as much DeGrom as Flaherty, but I still absolutely love him in this spot.
All right, I'm just seeing now. Ooh, boy, there's some high scores there in the afternoon games. Wow,
really? I only played a couple lineups. I had no time today.
All right, let me get. I want to see if Yonder Alonso got. He did not. 2 for 4, 2 singles.
Okay. All right. So no Yonder. I know Bowers didn't. At least I don't think he did.
All right. Back to this one. No hitters in this game for me. A one-off I would consider would be Michael Conforto, but that's really it.
I like the Conforto call. I sign off with that for sure.
All right, 2 more games. We have Jose Alvarez, who is starting. He will probably go maybe 1 inning and change. I don't know who is coming in after him. It's either going to be the young lefty kid, Cole something or other, but there's also been talk that it could be Vince Velasquez that's coming in against him. So if I were Gabe Kapler, he's still the manager, right, of the Phillies?
Yes.
The thinking man's manager. I would put in I would go lefty, righty, and then come back with another lefty and see if you can get Freeze or one of these other guys, Verdugo maybe, out of the lineup and come back and just see what happens. I was surprised that Verdugo is starting tonight in the lefty-lefty matchup. He's batting 7th. He's one of those guys that gets pinch hit for along with Jock Peterson. So Peterson's still off the bench, but I would suspect they would move some guys around because Muncy can play multiple positions, Bellinger can play multiple positions, Taylor can play multiple positions, TK can play multiple positions. So I could see them getting rid of Freese and potentially bringing in Peterson and moving some stuff around if they go righty-righty. But I think I'm thinking way more than Gabe Kapler does. So that probably is not going to happen.
Yeah, the Dodgers are like the one stack that I find myself not like getting filtered out that I wish I wasn't getting filtered out of. So I'm just getting more Coors instead of the Dodgers. And it's not the worst idea to just kind of go all in on Coors and forego some of these 5 implied total teams. But if it's going to be Velasquez or Cole Irvin, I think it's going to be a really nice spot for these Dodger bats. So obviously you love Bellinger, lefty, right? It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Same thing with Muncy, obviously not quite to that level, but batting second for 4,600. I think even the Chubster, Josh Engelman, would sign off on that as a solid play on DraftKings. Freeze in the leadoff spot is a little bit weird, but
I think they're putting him there because they know they'll probably pull him
at
some point, which is why I think he's there. And it wouldn't shock me, again, like I said, somehow if Peterson pinch hits or a double switch would be a good spot for him, depending on, it's Kershaw, but if they go lefty in for Phillies and it's around the 6th inning, I could see him pulling Kershaw, doing a double switch, and Freese would be the odd man out. But we'll see what happens there. Speaking of Kershaw, what do you want to do with him against a nearly entirely righty lineup, save for Bryce Harper?
I'm actually getting to some Kershaw, which I usually don't when he's chalky. I'm right around the field. So if he's going to be 15, 16%, I'm going to have him right around in that range. It's just a good price on him. Same thing with DeGrom. So the $1,800 to get up to Verlander does really matter to me tonight. Even if you want to, say, pay up for the Dodgers bats, you're going to have to save a few dollars here and there if you're trying to get in Bellinger and some of these guys like Seager and Verdugo at the end of the lineup. So I like Kershaw. He grades out as an okay value for that price. I think I prefer DeGrom straight up. Like if I'm building just one lineup, I think DeGrom ends up on it and not Kershaw. But I did get to 15 or so % of Kershaw in my crunches here.
All right. Let's see. I'm just going to pull our projections here from the old Osmo projection site and start running some crunches myself. Last game that we're going to have on the slate is Miami at San Diego. Nick Margevicius is back. He's 6,900, Jake.
That's nice.
It is. But he got sent back to the minors about 2 weeks ago after giving up 4 home runs. This would be a nice matchup for him. I don't think I'll get to him until we get to the late slate because there's the nice 4-gamer there. I do have a fair amount of Jose Urena. I think a lot of people are going to go that route as well. I'm comfortable with that. I'm hoping he just survives for 10 or 11 DK points, and I would be completely happy with that. How do you want to approach the hurlers in this matchup?
So I'm playing both of these guys.
Give us a few words here about Margevicius.
Yeah. He's not good by any means. 4 home runs you allowed. in one game at any level is tough to come back from, but you're coming back against probably the best team you could possibly come back against. So the one thing I'm looking at, and I believe he's pretty stretched out, but he did throw like 80 plus pitches a couple weeks ago. And then on the 24th, it looks like he only threw 31. Okay, so he threw 77, 92 on the 18th and the 12th, but we have him projecting out to throw, like he's going to be able to throw a normal amount of pitches. And maybe you only want a guy like that to throw 85 pitches and just be done and get your 5 innings and get out of there, give yourself a chance to for a win. And that's what you're looking for here at under 7K. It looks like no one's playing him either, so he makes for a fine pivot. I think our ownership's wrong on Brett Anderson. Are you seeing him at 1%?
They said there's just now been an ownership update, I think.
Oh, okay.
I haven't called that up yet, so
let me quick check, because I don't think Markovich is going to be higher owned than Anderson. I don't think Anderson's going to be 1%. Man, we still have him at like basically no ownership. If that's the case, I mean, I like both of these guys, but yeah, I'm playing some Markovich. It's the Marlins. It's a decent pitcher's park here. You're not looking for this guy to strike out a bunch of hitters. It's kind of like the Brett Anderson play. You just want him to go 5 cleanish innings and get you a handful of strikeouts. And you're paying up a little bit more for him, but I like that in terms of just making an ownership pivot off of the guy on the other side in Urena.
How much Markovich are you getting to?
I had on my last one, I had 17%.
Okay.
So if he's 5%, that's over 3x the field.
Excuse me. Sorry. I can tell my allergy medicine is wearing off.
Oh, dude, they're here too. I don't take allergy medication regularly enough. I should, but yeah, it's bad.
All right, got my pitching exposure set. Let's run a crunch here, build some stacks. Ask us if we got any questions. Where are you coming in on stacks and looking at your favorite tool here, the Osmo stacking tool? What is intriguing you or concerning you?
Sure. So I mentioned the Dodgers. Number one, if you guys aren't premium members, or if you are a premium member, you're kind of looking at where to start a slate. I think a great place to start is the top stacks tool, just to get kind of an overall view of the slate is how I think of it. Like which stacks are, first of all, being owned, which ones are valuable, which ones are valuable for good reason, which ones are going a little bit over owned in tournaments. So I always download this multiple times a day to Excel, and it's just a good visual of those things that I just mentioned. So looking at those things, the chalk tonight is, obviously Colorado and LA. But, you can play chalk on an 8-game slate and still be different. The chalk, according to our ownership projections, is not chalky enough, specifically on those two teams. Whereas you look at the actual chalkiest team as far as ownership share on DraftKings, I'm referring to DraftKings here. It's a little bit different across the different sites. But you're getting Toronto a little bit over-owned, but still, they wouldn't be a stack I would cross off because they do have a really good chance of being the top overall stack. So maybe a little bit overvalued on Toronto, but you can be different with them. And I'm finding myself being able to be different enough on Toronto. So I'm playing the chalk, but I'm just playing more of it. And for that reason, I'm kind of getting lower on guys like Verlander, which makes sense because I'm paying up for bats more than pitching tonight.
I'm looking here. So I went through and I decided I'm going to kind of cap most of my pitchers at 30% because I want to do some mixing and matching. So that's the route I'm going to take. I'm doing a quick. I've just realized I played some all day games, so I need to build out those stacks. So what I usually do on those is I like to play them, and then I just pick players from the later games, so I know I don't get anybody locked. Hopefully I did that. Let's look at the tail of the tape. Do I have anybody locked in? No, I don't, thankfully. But this way, I think people will tend to get impatient and maybe not go for Coors or not go for some of the other plays because they passed through a whole host of crappy pitchers on that 4 o'clock slate. that they would probably want to be targeting. So that's something I've found to be just kind of fun. That's mostly anecdotal there, but you oftentimes can get some good ownership by waiting on some of these. The other thing I like to do is occasionally I'll just lock in if I think there's a really good pitcher or in a good spot. I'll lock him in. So yes, 2 days ago I did that with Dakota Hudson. Locked him in. He had a solid game, and then he was one of the cheapest guys on the slate, and then I was able to build around that, and I had a nice night with those lineups.
On that slate, I did the exact opposite. It was a shorter slate, and not on purpose, but I had like 3 or 4 Dakota Fanning. You know why I said Dakota Fanning? Because someone said no Dakota's ever been good at anything or something, and I was like Dakota Fanning, or at least I said that in my head.
So
but
look, they missed us pre-show when we were talking about Katy Perry and Rebecca Black.
Yeah, man. Our pre-show conversation, we should have just kept that up for the whole show tonight. I think people would have been pretty interested in that. But yeah, I don't know. You just got to take a little bit of bigger stands, and he was getting ownership, so I leveraged a lot of my lineups were leveraging against him. So you can imagine how that slate ended up for me. I got completely wiped. But one note I wanted to make, looking at my exposures here, is I got 10 out of my top 11 hitters are in the Coors game as far as exposure. So the other one is named Mike Trout.
Nice for a lefty one there against Tommy Malone. Let's see, I'm just going to enter a few more contests, and I'm going to start building my crunches. We've got 9 minutes to go, so I'm a little bit under the wire, starting to panic. Let me see.
I can fill if need be.
Okay, you go ahead and do that. So we probably have some questions coming in. Overarching, what did you get for? You mentioned your most popular guys. Any stacks that you're missing out on that you wish you had perhaps a little bit more of?
Yeah, I just keep coming back to LA, man. It's annoying. But again, 10 of my top 11 hitters are Coors guys tonight. So if that game is 1-0 in the 6th inning, it's going to be a pretty early night for me. Yeah, man, people are making fun of me in chat. Rightfully so. I'm trying to figure out my exposure. We just got an ownership update. If people are premium members, if you're not a premium member, promo code Live Before Lock gets you 50% off the first month. I can host the show as well, Mac.
There you go.
You like that? I hosted actually with Adam all the time.
Oh, that's right. You guys are on together now.
Yeah, we're on Monday. Tune in for that show Monday. Of course, tune in tomorrow as well for the Live Before Lock / MLB strategy show.
Oh, that's right. New time. We are actually going live before lock. We're gonna go the last hour before, or hour and change whenever the games start tomorrow. We'll go live at noon with myself and the Chubster.
Awesome. Well, that's news to me. That sounds like good news. I think people will appreciate that. So what I'm doing right now is just loading my stuff into DraftKings, seeing if there's any last minute contests I should enter. And I'm also playing the night slate tonight, just because I think we have all the information we need except for Houston's lineup. But we do have ownership projections for the night slate. If you guys like to play these niche slates, or you can't play the main because you're working or whatever, completely understandable. But we've got all the tools to kind of help you get an edge on these niche slates. And Tom and Alex, Tom especially, I've noticed, especially last year, he just smashed these night slates all the time. They have some decent tournaments for baseball. You'll see him be good throughout the entire summer. Something to do. And of course, we talk about like in the diversification primer, which is on the site. It's a free article. That's right on the homepage under, I can't remember which tab. It's under the Learn DFS tab. Anyways, you play more slates, you can reach your DFS goals a little bit quicker. So I'm subscribing to that theory. I'm trying it out. I'm trying to play as many slates as possible. And I would suggest you guys do the same.
Yeah, I've done a similar path, which is something I have been doing for about a year now, and I've been having good success. And it's funny because sometimes on these smaller slates, you can just crush. Other times it's hard, but it all becomes about what you're going to do leveraging. and it's something that really the average gamer is really not paying attention to. We call it TELC is the term that Dave Lochran came up with. It stands for tilt entering late contests, which means you've been losing on the main slate, your night's over early, so you're just slamming in lineups. You see it a lot with people doing that in football, and they make a lot of silly mistakes.
Oh, I can't wait for football. I'm all in on football this year, as I should be always. But learning more how to use the tools, you can apply that to different sports that maybe you're not as familiar with. So I'm just using all the tools on the site, the projections, all that, ownership projections, of course, best in the business. But yeah, that's for football. Every contest just seems massive compared to like NHL and MLB, some of these night contests. So, by the way, are you playing NHL tonight?
I am. There are some nice projections on the site here. I want to give a hat tip to whoever does those. They've been helping me out this whole playoffs.
I hear. I hear that's a nice guy that's giving out his projections. But no, those are mine on the site for people that don't know what we're talking about. Feel free to fire those up and get weird in Showdown. I've had the tiltiest Showdown NHL postseason.
That overtime, the first game just killed me.
Me too. Or no, it was game 2.
Oh, game 2, yeah.
I don't know. I keep getting in like these top 3, first place in the third period, and then a couple shots or an empty net goal just swings the entire slate. You go from 10xing to literally losing half your entry fees because of one thing. So variance-based sports, fun stuff. Hopefully it goes the other way for me, preferably on Monday when they have this 20K to first tourney.
Are they?
Yeah, it's a $260 tournament. I've got a few tickets to it.
There we go.
Ron Patrick, I like the call.
Downloading my last lineup, and I'm going to sort these and enter them. Running 300 tonight, doing 100 each of 4-4, 5-3, and 5-0. What do you got? Have you been having some luck with your 5-0s?
Yeah, I've been running more and more of those. They're just more flexible. I like them on the big slates like last night, but no problem running that out on a 5-gamer like this. I do need like a correlation metric. Like I should weigh 2-man stacks, like 2-man mini stacks higher than a 1-man, like 3 one-offs, in a 5. I'm making 5 compared to a 5-2. So that's one thing I need to work on in my ranking process that I would like to integrate. But yeah, I like the 5 naked. I've seen more and more pro players I've noticed implementing a few of those into their 150s. Tom does that a lot, I know.
All right, hitting the button, fingers crossed we don't see the red.
That's the worst.
And there we go. All the lineups are in. So let's we've got 3 minutes left, and let me just hit a few things on the late slate. Let's give a few thoughts on that since it is a big one tonight. Jake, we've got I think Verlander will be one of the pitchers I'm going to try to go to. I know a lot of other people are. I'm willing to pass on DeGrom and Greinke. So for me, it's going to be Verlander, Anderson, and probably Verlander, Urena. I'll probably get 10% of DeGrom, Greinke, and Kershaw, just because things definitely could go sideways for Verlander. You never know what's going to happen there. But I'm not liking the way Market is looking at, but I'm okay with mixing and matching Anderson and Urena. I'll be curious to see what the popularity is for that late slate only. And as you mentioned, we do have that. By the way, free projections for NBA for the single slate stuff is free to everybody. For the remainder of the playoffs, so you guys can check that out. It's been a lot of fun playing those. And then we've got a contest tomorrow. My pinned tweet, I will drop this in chat. I need to update my pinned tweet, of course, but we've got the link here will get you in. You want to join the DK Awesemo League, because within that is where we're putting out these contests. So I made it just 40 because we didn't fill the 100. So you're going to want to act quickly. But if you win and you have an Awesemo avatar, you get 1 free month of premium content. Just reach out to me You can send me a DM, or you can hit me up, or reach out to sport@osmo.com. We'll get that taken care of for you. All we ask is you just retweet, and that's the best way to do it, is tweet the screenshot showing the old Osmo avatar, tag me, tag the Osmo _com account, and we'll get you hooked up there. I haven't seen him I thought I saw him earlier today. Cesar is in chat in YouTube. He was one of the winners the last time the contest filled, so he's kicking back and enjoying. I hope enjoying his free month here. So
of course, how can he not?
Good times. All right, 1 minute to go here. With regards to hitting, it looks like I have a ton. Oh, and this is another fun trick I do. After I upload my file, I pull it into Fantasy Cruncher's Late Swap Optimizer. Mm-hmm. And I can see all of my percentages because I haven't set up nifty formulas or anything like that in my work. So I've got 46% Danny Jansen, 44% Vlad Guerrero, 35% Grichuk, 33% Trout, 33% Atani, 30% Tapia, 30% Story, 25% Verlander. A little more Freddie Galvis than I'd like. Oh, and Houston lineup just came in. Thanks, guys.
Of course.
Thanks.
So we'll get one more ownership update and rankings update.
Oh, good. Gurriel's in the lineup. I have a ton of Gurriel. So.
Perfect. Is it Mayfield's in the lineup? That's the one guy. So who's out? Who's out for the Astros?
It's their cheap guy who's been batting leadoff a bunch but doing nothing because Miles Straw is.
Derek Fisher?
Yes.
Oh, Miles Straw. Whoa. Okay. All right, cool.
And Reddick is in the lineup. Trina. So it's Straw, Bregman batting second. That's who I should have gone with my home run call, but he doesn't play first base. So
I like that call.
I'm trying to stay on. I went back and was looking at it after Chris was making fun of me for the home run calls that I was just picking the BPP first baseman. So I've continued to pick them, or tried to anyway. If I start going, I think I haven't gotten one correct since Matt Adams a few games ago. So I may have to shake that back up, but we shall see. But that is going to do it for us. You've got 45 minutes, I think, until the hockey locks. Is that correct, Jay?
Yeah, right. 8 Eastern, 7 my time. I always say Eastern for you guys. I'm just a nice guy like that.
You are.
Yeah, 8 Eastern is when the puck drops. I'll hopefully be able to catch a lot of that game. Just soaking up the last few degenerate NHL slates that I can, along with all these MLB niche slates and such. But yeah, it'll be a good one. I'm very happy with the series so far. 1-1. Tied going back to St. Louis tonight. I hope the Blues win. I hope the Blues win the rest of the games in the series. Boston's had enough titles for a few decades.
Yeah, I feel that way myself. Not that I'm a huge fan of St. Louis by any stretch, but they're okay. Shout out to Rinpack. He is going to be joining Fast Eddie on the show tomorrow again. He is I'd known him since the FanVice days. He went out to met him at the FanVice University we did up in Chicago, but he is really, really good at basketball, and I think he had about a $40,000 night in game one. So I know a lot of people were saying, oh, who's this guy, etc. We didn't put him on the show with Eddie. Eddie asked for him to be on the show with him. So he does have Eddie's seal of approval. Those guys talk basketball nonstop. Usually when Eddie's up in Chicago, he meets up with Rinpack as well. So they hang out a couple times a year on those trips. So just know he's got the blue check mark from one Fast Eddie fair. So and it came through very nicely for him. I think he tied with the split on FanDuel.
48K, I think it was 47, 48.
Yeah, something along those lines. So pretty good night for him. So definitely check that out. He's also pardon
55 in total. Tom says.
Yeah, it was absolutely impressive. But check him out if you're in the premium Slack. He's there, loves chatting basketball, and a lot of nuance in this game. Series was a little bit of a surprise. I mean, we shouldn't be surprised that Toronto actually won because this game is in Toronto, and frankly, they're in the finals, so they're a very good team. No Kevin Durant, etc. But the Warriors just looked a little bit discombobulated. Perhaps it was their long layoff, but that first half that was a little shaky on their part. Clearly, they have two of the best shooters in the game today in Clay and Steph Curry, and those guys are probably top 20 all time in the history of the NBA. So they'll come around. It'll be interesting to see if they can get a split in this one. Then I think Golden State will probably take the series. But if Toronto's able to go up 2-0, wow, we'll have to see what happens. But massive game there from Fred VanVleet. Had a good one, just a couple lucky shots. But I guess after he missed pretty much every shot he took for 7 games in the first 2 series, he's due for a little positive regression. And then, why am I blanking on his name? The third Cameroonian who is in the league, in addition to Joel Embiid and Luke Richard Mbah Amute, and I'm Siakam, Pascal. Yeah, he had a monster game.
He was talking about some lucky shots and tips, but man, was he a beast.
Yeah, so there we are. But check that out. You're going to get, again, free NBA content for the projections and stuff. Just all you got to do is go over to osmo.com and click on the old NBA tab, and it will get you that stuff. That's going to be for the rest of the finals. I stumbled across that myself. I hadn't realized we were doing that. We've got the show tomorrow. It'll be at noon. We're trying out the noon time slot here for Live Before Lock. That will be myself and Josh Engelman. And then reminder, jump on in those Yahoo contests. They'll be dropping if they're going to do one tonight, they'll drop it in the next half hour, their management fee free tournament. And even if they don't, it's still a fun place to play over there. I've been really getting into it once again. I had my big win last year. I took down one of their Friday contests. It was like $7 entry fee, 10 entry max. I won 5K, got first. So that was really nice. Helped me out for the whole year. And I got 8th last night. Smaller contest, just 2,000 people in it, but no management fee. So definitely check that out. If you use the promo code, we got a bunch of them. MLB Strategy, Live Before Lock, Early Bird, all one word. Those will get you 50% off any 1-month package. And I'm going to drop the link to the Spotlight Hitters and Stacks article here, and we've got the no management fee contest is up. Thank you, Makad, for pointing that out. I'll drop this link in chat. You can always go to the Spotlight Hitters and Stacks article. In the second paragraph will be the instructions on how to use the link and the promo code OSMO to get yourself $30 with your first initial deposit. So there we go. I think that does it for us, Jake.
All right. Good luck, all.
All right. With that, you can follow Jake at Jake Hari on Twitter. I am at EMACDFS. Of course, it is Osmo_COM. With that, gamers, good luck. Can nobody